Thank you, the Asbar Forum, and Dr. Fahad for inviting me. I am particularly happy to be here because one of our alumni is here with us this afternoon, and that's Abdul Aziz Al-Kurikari, who is one of our major alumni from the program, and I'm so glad that he invited me too. What I'm going to do is to tell you a little bit about a particular research project that we have been involved in MIT, and it's called CITE, C-I-T-E, and I want to tell you a little bit, it's about evaluations of innovations, because we heard a lot this afternoon about innovations, and what we are starting our project is with a different assumption. And the assumption is that there is no shortage of innovations. One of our first assumptions was that in terms of consumer products that are designed to make the lives of common people a little better, that the market was flooded with innovations, and nobody knew which of these innovations really work. So what we wanted to do is to find a way to evaluate innovations. And I give you some examples here about how many cooking stoves, 452 varieties of cooking stoves innovation, 100 more different types of water filter evaluations. So the issue is, we looked at 3 different criteria. Can I have this one from here for me? Okay. So there are 3 criteria we use for evaluation of the products. We call it 3S. First is the suitability of the product. How does the product actually works? There are many, many claims made of products, but we wanted to bring them in the lab, take apart the product, and really test to what extent it actually does what it says it does. Right? The second is the scalability of the product. Many products that are well designed still do not reach common people or poor people, even though they are consumer products. So we wanted to know, how does the market work? Why some products reach the poor but others don't reach? What is about the market, particularly the supply chain? And the third item is the sustainability of the product, sustainable use of the product. Some products are designed in such a way that people, consumers, feel easy to use. So we wanted to assess that. So the approach was 3-part, 3S, and we did both. We took the products both in the lab at MIT, and we also take the product, test the products in the field, because you cannot replicate all the conditions of the field in the lab, particularly humidity, temperature, etc. So we want to say that also this particular project was joined by 6 different groups at MIT, including mechanical engineering, which did the first part, which is the lab testing of the product, business school, Sloan School of Business, which looked at the scalability part, and also urban planning, Center for Transportation and Logistics, and the development lab. So it was 6 groups together, and I want to emphasize this because we heard a lot this afternoon about coordinating an interdisciplinary approach. And I want to share with you that interdisciplinary approach may sound very good, and often is very good, but it takes a lot of organizational work to combine them. We did 12 different evaluations of products, and just want to tell you quickly, the solar lanterns, water filters, post-harvest food storage, water quality test kits, educational technologies, malaria rapid diagnostic test, food aid packaging, post-harvest loss, and solar water pumps, etc. It was also required many different groups to come together, and I won't go into the detail. So what is the aim? I wish I could, yeah.
It's back.
Okay, it's back. So these are the different organizations that worked with us in the research, and you see there are different government, non-governmental organization, business, etc. So what is CITE's aim? What did we want to achieve? So first thing we wanted to do is to create something like the consumer reports that you see in the US market, but consumer report for middle class and lower middle class people, because they are the ones who have been flooded with all these innovations and they don't know how to test it. So the goal was to create something like a consumer report. The second, we wanted to create hubs around the world, hubs where we could test these kind of products in different parts of the world, both the lab test and the field test. And the third was educating our students, in this particular methodology and creating a long-distance course, the MOOCs. And we actually finished a MOOC on the evaluation technology, and I can tell you more about that later. Some quick examples from our things, because I don't have a lot of time, but some examples of our things. You see the solar lanterns that we did, the evaluation of the solar lanterns. And what we found out, I'm just going to share with you one finding from each, is that the best lanterns perform very poorly when they're pushed with water. They are not water resistant at all. Now, why I'm mentioning it is to tell you that the criteria you choose to evaluate is very important. And often the criteria that the consumers are not used by the researchers. The consumers told us that many times they drop the product in the water and the product doesn't work. So we need to find interesting criteria. I think that's part of the job. The second one that I want to mention is about solar, sorry. So, am I going too fast? Huh? Yeah, this is interesting for solar, sorry, thank you. The solar lanterns is very interesting because we tested many solar lanterns. You know, the market is flooded with solar lanterns. What we found out for people, the criteria that was most important for them is not the amount of light, it's whether the solar lanterns charge their phones better. That was the criteria that was more important for the people. And we also found that even though there were a lot of local products, the Chinese products that came to the market, because it's produced in bulk and in scale, it was very hard to compete with the Chinese products because of the economy of scale argument. Third, the water filters. We looked at the water filters, and this was in India, for a country that I come from. And we looked at 100 different water filters of a different price range. The one that was the most effective was 1/3 the price of the one that was produced, but it was produced locally by people who just put together things in a very random way. But they were able to lower the cost very sharply. So that was a major finding for these products. So I'm going to skip the few other examples and then give you just so this is the solar powered. We can always talk about that later. So what are the possibilities? The first possibility that I want to propose to you is the creation of a large-scale infrastructure that you want to do these kind of evaluations. There are very few around the world. The one that is dominating the market is in New York, is for the consumer reports. So there's a huge scope for us to create a lab in which you can test these kind of things. It's expensive, but it is worthwhile to do. The second thing is for creation of hubs. I think there's a lot of scope around the world to create these kind of hubs where you can test products. And you can create a community of practice. If you can link with the global group, you can create a community of practice. And you can use that for teaching in the universities here, where you are teaching. That's it. Last one, do you need a site type evaluation? I want to say, do you need one? You can think about it if you need an evaluation of this nature. The second thing is, which institutions should site collaborate with to create these hubs? We are eager at MIT to make a network with you and other parts of the world. So please let us know if you're interested. And third is to create a financial model for this product, for this kind of evaluation that is going to be viable, that will become like the consumer reports. Thank you.